Welcome to the Turnpike Sports Spotlight. Dave Weishuttle with you here. Sports betting is really popular because it's a lot of fun, and let's be honest, it's a lot more fun when you win. And recently I downloaded an app on my phone that is taking sports betting to a whole new level. The information it provides to a sports bettor is just amazing. The app is called Juice Reel, and we're going to find out all about it because on the line we have the CEO and founder of Juice Reel, Ricky Gold. Ricky, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
First off, congratulations on Juice Reel. It's an amazing app with incredible information on it, and we're going to find out all about it. But first, I want to find out about you. What is your background? Did you have an interest in sports betting before you created Juice Reel?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you got to have a background, at least that you enjoy sports betting to build something like this. But yeah, my background, so I'm Ricky Gold, founder of Juice Reel. My background, I've been working in the data and tech space leading up to starting the company. But I grew up around sports betting, watching my dad bet on sports before the internet was around all the way to kind of where we are today. So my whole life has been surrounded by watching sports, knowing the spread. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I started to see some of the gaps that were missing from the consumer experience.
Well, that leads me to my next question. What led you to create Juice Reel? What did you see in the industry that made you think that Juice Reel could really be successful in the sports betting industry?
Yes, I'd say it really started out with, sitting around betting with your friends. Every Sunday we'd all hang out at somebody's house watching football, everybody betting on the games. And we would always joke around that, are you profitable lifetime? And we'd all joke around saying, yeah, of course. No one ever actually had a number to say how they're doing. And that was kind of the first spark that made me go, it's kind of interesting. No one has a number about how they're doing. And then a lot snowballed from there.
For those who aren't familiar with Juice Reel, can you tell us what it is? I mean, it's not a sports book, but I think it's a really effective tool for people who are placing bets in the sports books in their states. But what is Juice Reel?
So the goal of Juice Reel is to be the all-encompassing tool for a sports bettor to help you before, during, and after the game. Mm-hmm. And to really hone in on the whole sports betting experience outside of pressing submit on your bet, which you'll do in your sports book like a DraftKings and FanDuel. So how the journey starts off with Juice Reel is, as you're a sports bettor, the first thing that you're going to do is connect in your betting account. So link in your DraftKings, link in your FanDuel, link in your Barstool, and all of your bets from those platforms automatically load into our app, Juice Reel. And once your bets are in our app, we give you analytics on yourself, how you're doing over time, what are your best teams, what are your worst teams, how are you doing on parlays versus straight bets and teasers, things like that. But where things get really interesting is when everybody, our whole user base is connecting in their sports books, we've got lots of data on our users. And we use that data to help the whole community bet smarter.
I'm so glad you brought up the sync feature. For me, that was just absolutely amazing. I live in New Jersey, and there's a lot of sports books out there. And the way I used to do it was I had these pieces of paper where I put down the name of the sports book, and then I put my bets underneath that the name of the sports book, and I put it in my pocket. And over a course of a Sunday, there's a lot of pieces of paper in my pocket. I mean, with Juice Reel, there's a lot of – all your bets are in front of you because, it's just absolutely amazing, the sync feature. Tell us more about that because I think that was one of the great features that I saw on Juice Reel.
Yeah, so we support over 200 betting websites where really all you do is press where you bet, type in your credentials, and boom, within about 60 seconds, all your bets ever are loaded into our app. Yeah, once they're in, outside of getting analytics on yourself of how you used to bet or how you bet over time, we have this one feature that shows you how your bets are doing as the game plays out. So as you bet on the game, You can watch your bets bounce up and down in value. You get a first down, your bet's worth a little bit more. You fumble the ball, it's worth a little bit less. Kind of like watching a stock if you're a guy who follows the stock market.
I got to tell you, last week I woke up in the middle of the night, and the first thing I did was hit my Juice Reel app on my phone, and I found out I won a baseball parlay. So I want to thank you for a very restful night's sleep. So I should be thanking the Brewers and the Twins, but I'm thanking you because you're on the phone with me. But I want to ask you about some of the other features that Juice Reel has. I think one of the most important things that a sports bettor should know or should find out about placing a bet is you got to find the best lines. You got to go do your shopping around and looking for the best lines and the best odds and the different sports books in your jurisdiction. I mean, like I said, I'm in New Jersey, and that's over 25 sports books. So for the average recreational bettor, that's a big time consuming job. Juice Reel really makes it easier because it gives you the best odds in your state and the best lines in your state, right?
Exactly. It's almost like an Expedia-like experience where you're looking at the game and we're showing you the best place to place it.
I always say when it comes to sports betting, information is the key, and the information that you provide to sports bettors who download Juice Reel is just amazing. Tell us about some of the information that is available to people who download Juice Reel. I mean, for example, the New York Jets are playing the Buffalo Bills in the first week of the NFL season coming up. What kind of information will be provided in a game like that for people who are on Juice Reel? Walk us through the process.
Yes, so I'd say probably my favorite data point that a lot of our users look at is a metric that we call sharp mush. Mm-hmm. And what that really is let's say 100 people are betting on the Jets-Bills game. And if you just looked at what the best 20 people are betting on that game, they might be slanted towards the Jets. They might be slanted towards the Bills. Let's say they're slanted towards the Jets. Good luck for the Jets this year. And looking at the worst 20 people, the people who are historical losers over time, we'll call them poor performers to be nice. Let's say they're slanted on the Bills. And if you can see if you can see that all of the historical winners are taking the Jets, and at the same time, all of the historical losers are taking the Bills, that's a really insightful piece of information that allows you to follow a ton of smart bettors while also doing the opposite of a ton of poor performing bettors. And so we call it sharp mush because it's following the sharps while you're fading the mush. And so that indicator is definitely one of our users' favorite features.
That's such an amazing feature because, like you said, everyone wants to know what the sharps are doing and what kind of bets the most successful sports bettors are placing. For me, that really sets you apart from other apps out there or other sports betting resources. It is that feature that shows you how people are doing on your app. Talk a little more about that and how people access that on Juice Reel.
Definitely. So, people have been, attempting to follow the sharp money, forever. Mm-hmm. And the way that they've done it historically, pretty much through all of time until our app, is how you follow the sharp money prior to our app is you look at this Jets-Bills game, look where a lot of the money is bet on. Is it a lot on the Jets? And it are a lot with less tickets, less people betting on it. And you used to think that following the sharp money meant following big bets where not a lot of people are betting it. And there's a huge flaw in that if you're just following where a lot of money is and not a lot of people, you might just be following a big degenerate who's not necessarily a good bettor. And, that flaw exists because prior to us, to know who's actually a sharp bettor, you'd need tons and tons of data on how they've bet throughout their life. Are they actually a good bettor? And we have access to that information because everybody's connecting in their DraftKings, their FanDuel. So we know just how good everybody is. So we can truly help people follow historical winners and do the opposite of historical losers.
I was talking to you off air, and I was saying Juice Reel really makes my bets. I mean, I'm looking at my bets in a whole different way. I mean, like I said, I used to have those pieces of paper in my pocket, and I used to compare it to the scores of the games, and that was it. I mean, but not only does Juice Reel tracks my bets in real time, but it shows me how I'm doing. I mean, I told you off air, I've never seen my bets in graph form before. I mean, it's really eye-opening, and it really shows my progress in a way I've never seen before. What has been the reaction from people who have used Juice Reel? Because for me, I mean, that feature was really eye-opening for my betting.
Yeah, sports bettors, once they really try out our app, it's really sticky. They love it. I mean, for good reason. This is a free app to download. We kind of frame it in a way of, how could you not be using this? And that's really, my thesis around creating the product is this is it's a no-brainer product to use because it's a free app and it's here to help. It's your sports betting companion.
One of the big things in sports betting nowadays is in-play betting. Tell us how people can use Juice Reel for in-play betting.
So when you're watching your bet as the game plays out, you're watching, it bounce up and down in value as you get a first down, it's worth a little bit more. What we also show on top of that is live betting options in that Expedia-like format. So you can see, okay, my bet just got, I got scored on, and now my odds are twice as big, and so I may want to double down, and where the best place to double down could be at BetMGM. And so it allows you to not just watch how your bets are doing, but also take action on them and either double down, hedge, things like that.
What was fascinating to me is I had Juice Reel open while watching the game I bet on, and I was like tracking it on your app as I'm watching the game, and it was such an amazing event to see that my bet in action almost. And now certainly you have a technical background, and anyone who goes on Juice Reel can see that there's some pretty impressive technology being utilized on the app. Tell us about the technology that's involved with Juice Reel and how that really helps with the sports betting process.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I definitely do come from a technical background, had worked at a few tech companies, did some consulting for some banks, but I definitely got to thank my team. My team comes from a quant finance background, software development background. So I got to give it up to the team for being the people who are, I did a lot on the design front, a lot on the architecture front, but hats off to my team for being the ones that are truly executing it, making it all operate in real time where, seconds after a first down, your bet's changing. So the underlying tech stack is something we're really proud of because I think it leads the industry.
I'm glad you mentioned your team because, I always say technology is only as good as the people who implement it. And it appears you have a great team working there with Juice Reel. Tell us about the team. Who are behind Juice Reel and really make it go?
So probably some of the core developers, guys named John Persicelli, Tony Reiser, Cam Linares. When I started this company back in 2019, I actually went on LinkedIn. Looked for, really smart people in the New York area who are working in software or quant finance, took them out to coffee and sat down and said, hey, this is my idea. This is why I think it's going to be great. And this is what I want you to do for it. You want to come work every night after work on this with me? And these are the guys that said absolutely. And we've been working on it ever since.
Now, Juice Reel is a relatively new app, and I'm just curious, what is the feedback that you've been getting from people who have been using Juice Reel and technology of the app? I mean, for me, like I said, I'm just amazed by it.
Yeah, I think that's it's been a pretty common theme, which puts a smile on my face.
Good.
People are amazed of all it can do and the features that come with it, because you really can't get a lot of what we do elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious about your opinion on where the sports betting industry is headed in the future. I mean, as a gaming attorney, I'm always in meetings with sports betting operators who use the term artificial intelligence, and then they talk about customization for the industry. But where do you see the sports betting industry headed in the near future?
I think in the near future, the next major hurdle that the industry is going to overcome, and it seems like we're kind of on that path already, is merging real-time viewing, like watching the game, with real-time betting, live betting.
Yeah.
And so like right now, one of the most frustrating things is if you're watching sports on your TV on a Sunday and you also have your juice reel or your sportsbook open, your phone's beating your TV. You see the odds change, and then 30 seconds later, you watch the play actually happen that changed the odds. And that delta is a really, in my opinion, a poor experience. It not only takes away from the experience, but also takes away from the revenue opportunities for sportsbooks. People want, I think, shrinking that gap in latency between what you're seeing on as you watch the game and as you bet on the game, and merging those two together, I think something that's going to be coming soon over, if not the next year, maybe the year after that.
Tell us about the future of Juice Reel. What can people expect from Juice Reel in the coming months and in the coming year?
So we actually just released maybe 4 days ago our the next update to our app, which we call it our football season ready app.
Okay.
And so that's live on the App Store, live on the Play Store. Probably the biggest update outside of it looking a lot cleaner is the ability to follow other people, follow your friends, click into your friends' profiles, all with the proper privacy settings to make sure people are only showing data on themselves to the extent that they want to.
I love the concept that you have. It's sports betting, but it's, I don't want to call you social media, or would you want to be called social media? But I love that aspect of a community being created in Juice Reel.
Yeah, I wouldn't call what we do social media. Maybe it's because I personally am not a big social media guy. I don't really have any, we've got some company social media. But I don't view betting as social because I think not everybody wants to talk about betting. Some people, if you're losing, you don't necessarily want to be chatting in a group chat. But I think the data around social interactions can help drive better betting performance. And so, we intertwine our users, we build a community, and people win and lose together. But, we kind of shy away from some of, anything opinionated that comes with social. Like how you're feeling about a game. It's not something we've built into the app.
I was on your website, and I love the fact that you have an open communication with your customers because, sports betting is changing all the time. There's always new sports books jumping in on different jurisdictions. And you even say on your website, if there's a sports book that you want to be added onto Juice Reel, we can do that. I mean, I think that's a great feature that you have.
Definitely. We love to, there's always, new sports books popping up. We want to keep our customers happy, and we're, it's almost embarrassing. You read the Apple reviews on our App Store. Too many of them say we love the customer support.
Yeah, that's great. It's amazing.
Yeah, but it's funny.
Well, Ricky, we're running out of time, but where can people download the Juice Reel app? And do you have a website you want to give out so people can find out more about Juice Reel? Yeah,
so it's Juice, REEL. So juice like orange juice, reel like fishing reel. You can get the Juice Reel app on the App Store or the Google Play Store, or go to juicereel.com and learn more about the product.
Ricky Gold, founder and CEO of Juice Reel, thanks so much for coming on and telling us all about Juice Reel. It's an amazing app, and I'm not just saying that because it's on my phone and I use it, but because it's an amazing tool for sports betting. Thanks so much for creating it, and thanks so much for your time today.
Gladly. Thanks for having me on.
That'll do it for us this week. See you next time on the Turnpike.